Okay, four things we do if we were taking over a grassroots team, and that we're going to come at this from if we were new to it, we'd been thrown into it as a parent. Some of the things we do just to make our lives a bit easier based on what we've learned from the last few years. This is a question we get asked a lot, which is why we wanted to do it. There's a lot of parents that get in touch with us to ask for advice and opinion on things like this. So we're going to take two things each and talk through them. The first thing, and I'm going to start, is communication with parents. And what I mean by this is things like game time. Is it going to be equal? Is it not? Positions, are we going to have fixed positions? Are we going to change positions every few weeks, every match, whatever it might be? Are we going to have a policy of if we don't train, we don't play? Is that a fixed thing, no matter what, or how it might be flexible? Switching goalkeepers. Not every team's blessed with having their own goalkeeper. So what's going to happen there? Are we going to take it in turns every game, every half? And how's that going to look? Will we split the team off into A and B teams at some point? If we start with a really big squad that have maybe two or three teams within it, are we then going to, as they get a bit older or what have you, are we going to have an A and a B and a C or whatever? Just setting the thing for that right now. Sideline behaviour, and this is more talking about what can be said and shouted on the sideline because the manager is going to be giving them instructions about doing things possibly in a certain way. So, what comments are allowed from the sideline, i.e., don't be coaching because that's what we're there for. And then we spoke about this before. You'd actually said something about what's not going to be communicated. So we've just spoke there about here's all the stuff that we're going to talk about before you sign your kid up to come and play in this team, and what's going to be communicated to you and what have you. But then you'd spoke about what's not going to be communicated, and you mentioned match reports and analysis, which seems to be happening a bit more and more on WhatsApp groups and stuff like that after games.
Yeah. Lots and lots. See lots of messages. Some funny ones, some pretty pretty worrying ones. I think some of them as well. And it's just always to what end, really? Why are you going to do that? When you're sending a message to kids on a Sunday afternoon after they've played that morning, saying not good enough today, lacked intensity, need more desire, blah 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 blah. It's just what is the purpose of that message and what's the effect of that message going to be? I think it comes back to competitiveness, and when children are playing football, they're going to try to win. They're always going to try to win by definition. When they've got the ball or when their team's got the ball, they're going to be trying to score. When the other team's got the ball, they're going to be trying to defend and stop that from happening. So they're going to develop all of those skills. Whether that team wins or loses is not going to affect the development. Winning and losing is going to affect their emotions after the game. They're going to be happy if they win. They're going to be upset if they lose, and that's fine. Not trying to shy away from that whatsoever. But and it's also just the ridiculousness of it. You're not These coaches aren't messaging kids. They're messaging the kids' parents. So it's Sunday afternoon. I've played football this morning. I might be playing on my Xbox now. I might be doing my homework. I might be at grandparents' house. But whatever it is, and then what's the expectation that you're going to pull that kid to one side and say, "Oh, just sit and listen to this. Your coach has just sent a message. You weren't good enough today. You lacked intensity. We need more desire. Blah 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 blah. They wanted it more than us." And also those generic football type comments. What does that mean to a child if you say you need to want it more? How are they going to actually action that next week to see an improvement in their performance? Because they might just think, well, I thought I wanted it this week. Do I want to? Do I really, really want it next week? I just think it's difficult things for them to action, and it's just going to create a bit of negativity around them on a Sunday afternoon, and it's not going to guarantee an improvement in performance, which I think is what people's intentions are with it.
And it's so subjective as well that if you send something out as a manager, you're probably going to have a handful of people that don't agree with it, which is then going to cause conversation elsewhere in possibly sub WhatsApp groups
Yeah,
away
yeah.
from the other, and it just creates a bit of an environment you probably don't want. So
And
yeah,
it's not to give feedback or anything. If there's a performance issue in a game, I don't know, something they've done really well that week or something. Maybe they've been caught out. Maybe the other team scored two or three really similar goals against them. Maybe it was the back line was quite high. Balls were going over the top, and they had a really fast striker, and they were getting in every time and scoring. Boom, boom. So that's worth a conversation at the end of the game. You know, what happened today? How did they keep scoring their goals? And you're trying to get them to be aware of this idea. Well, if you play high and they've got a fast striker, then that might be a bit of a risk for you. But again, you even that you've got to be careful with, because that they might take that as, all right, well, next week we'll have a deeper back line next week, but you might not be playing against a fast striker next week, and dropping off next week might provide space for their better players, and they're going to hurt you in different ways next week. So it's never concrete. You can't fix something and just move on to the next thing. It's always moving.
Yeah. And I don't think there's any harm in having those quick conversations after when it's fresh in their mind as well. What to say, if we are playing against a fast striker in future, what do you think? What do you think we should do next time? And those sorts of things. It's just when it becomes a Monday Night Football 2 hour post-match thing within a WhatsApp group that I just think it opens. If it's me and I'm a manager, the strain on time is ridiculous. The admin and everything else is ridiculous. So this is just one thing that you're going to add to your list, and then it's just going to create questions, and you're going to be spending your Sunday afternoons replying to responses of people that have maybe agreed with you or don't agree with you, whatever. When just take it for what it is. The kids have tried to win a game of football, and then you can maybe look at some stuff at training, maybe, that save it for that. And I'm just thinking about it from from the kids, but then also from my own point of view of, you also just need a bit of downtime now. You've done your bit, you're volunteering, you just put it to one side for a bit.
Well, it's finished, hasn't it? And for the players, it's finished. That's the beauty of the players. When that game is finished, yeah, they'll be upset if they lose. They'll be happy if they win. But then they'll go home and turn on their Xbox or start doing something else. They can package it away and leave it. It's
Yeah.
it's some adults that just want to keep going back to it and back to it. And I get it. It's good to be passionate about something and want to do well and stuff like that. But it's not having the effect you think it has, and it's
No.
potentially having a negative effect.
And they'll seldom remember the score.
Oh yeah.
I do my one-to-ones on a Friday night, and some of them are 14, 15, 16 years old, so you think they'd remember. And I'll say to them, how did it go last weekend? Oh yeah, well, all right. Who did you play against? What was score? And they'll look over at the parents if what was score? I can't remember. And so that's teenagers. So
Yeah, and that changed. Can I speak from my experiences? But keep coaching younger kids. It makes me laugh every month. We have our tournaments week where they just come and play matches, and we record the scores, and the winners get a certificate and stuff like that. So competitive in some people's eyes, but when they play matches every other week, they're still competitive. But anyway, but yeah, I love it. I get a team in. They've just been playing a 2v2 game or a 3v game. Right, what was the score? And I will get four different responses, and not like, oh, it was 1-0. Oh no, I think it was 7-5 to us actually. Oh wait, no, it was 3-3. It's wild, and it just shows that when they were playing, they were trying to win, they were competing, they were developing. The score it's just not like. I mean, we went up to the academy game, didn't we, that time? I remember we came out and they'd lost, and there were a couple of them saying, "Yeah, we won." We were like, "All right, yeah, well, yeah, if you're happy about that, that's fine."
so yeah, communication. But I do think you would save yourself a lot of headaches and potential conflict if if you just set this out, and that could be an email, and it's something that gets sent to everybody when they join the team, and the parent has to agree to it. And you're still not going to please everybody. Let's have it right. There's still going to be people that moan, but you can sleep easy knowing this parent signed up to this team based on this. And so if you don't like it, then you can leave. I've kept my end of the bargain, and that's again going back to the game time. We're not going to have fixed game time for everybody. Here's why. We are going to have fixed game time for everybody. Here's why. It's what our opinion in that situation. In this situation, it doesn't matter. This is your opinion. But as long as it's set out in stone, then there can't really be any comeback. I mean, we'd say obviously we do believe there should be equal game time, perhaps mixing positions and stuff like that every few weeks. But that's our opinion. I'm just talking here about you setting it out. This is your thing. This is why you're doing it this way. Right. One from you, Nick.
Yeah, so we talked about playing matches, and this links back to, again, I think a question we get quite a lot. Often when a manager and their team are changing formats, so going from 7-a-side to 9-a-side, 11-a-side, that often seems to be a key moment where people are asking for our help. And understandably, it is a big difference playing on a different size pitch with different amount of players, teammates and opponents and stuff like that. So it absolutely takes some getting used to. What we don't have is a magical drill that fixes it from going from 7 to 9. The answer is to get more used to playing nine-a-side football. You need to play more nine-a-side football. It's as simple as that. So if you can arrange friendlies at nine-a-side, if you can go to galas over the summer at nine-a-side in preparation for the next season, then that's going to help you. I would caveat that point though to say if you're worried about your team and how they're going to perform in their first few games at 9v9 because they're not used to it and they probably will not do as well as they might do after they got a bit more used to it. If you if you just if you get friendlies organised because you want them to hit the ground running on the first game of the season, you're accepting that they're going to lose. They're potentially going to lose those friendlies because they're not prepared for nine-a-side yet. They've not, so you're going to use that time to get them prepared for it because you're not bothered because it's a friendly. But that's screaming to me that you're really bothered about the result then. And so personally, I wouldn't be fussed about getting extra friendlies in. I would accept that. Let's say it's going to take four matches for your team to acclimatise from 7-a-side to 9-a-side. Well, I'd expect that to happen over the first 4 games of the season, and I'd accept that. Fine, yeah. If you're saying I'm going to have 4 friendlies first before the season starts, that's just saying to me that's because you are scared about losing a competitive game, which is fine. Like you said before, if someone's going to say to you, right, I'm going to run this team, it's going to be competitive, I'm going to pick my best players, we're going to try to win every game, that's fine. It's when people are saying, yeah, no, I just do it for development, I'm not bothered about result, but I need to get friendlies in so I'm ready for this league game. That doesn't add up. So that would be all I'd say. And also, your first game of your season at 9-a-side might be your team's first ever 9-a-side game. You might play against a team who've done what we've just said there and had 6 friendlies throughout the summer to get ready for 9-a-side. You could still beat them. First game of the season. There's that's what it keeps coming back to. These things aren't guaranteeing something to happen at the other side.
Yeah, yeah. We spoke about this one, didn't we? About if we took over a team, do more matches. That one of my ideas, and you got me to think about, well, to what end? And I
Mm.
suppose, yeah, like you say there, if you're taking over a team and you're results driven, which is that's in your communication. We're playing to win every game, even though with the younger end, obviously it's not posted out. There's no league table, whatever else, but still we're playing to win this. Of course, you're playing to win the game. It goes without saying. But in other words, I put in my best team out every single week. We want to smash teams to pieces. That's your philosophy or whatever. Then yeah, playing more matches but might help. It might be a good thing to do. I'd also said to you, it could be that if you've taken over a team of complete beginners that they've not played football matches before, they don't really know the rules and whatever, they've not played within a team environment before, then perhaps organising more friendly matches would be a good thing for those kids and coming at it from trying to get them used to playing together as a team. It's a new team thrown together. They don't really know the rules and stuff yet. So playing more of these things might help. Um,
Yeah,
and
definitely. Most players would rather play matches than train and things like that. Can't they? So if you can get extra games organised, that's win-win for everyone. They're there to play football matches rather than do training activities predominantly.
yeah, it could, and we'd also spoke about that if you are through the winter, you've got one training session a week and a match. Your kids are football obsessed. They've got the bug. They want to play more football. Then can you arrange more matches just to facilitate that? Because yeah, it probably will help the development. You'd like to think because they're simply playing an extra hour a week of football or what have you. But if they're loving it, then can we facilitate it more? And then the ways that I'd probably look to do that would be, are you friendly with a couple of the coaches within the thing that you're in, the league or whatever? Could you partner up with them and say, right, well, we'll come down to your place next week when you're having your training session and let's just do some 3v3 or 7v7 or whatever and just have a training match. Let them play. One of us will ref it, but it doesn't have to be massively formal. And then not only have you got them an extra hour a week training, but you're thinking about like the costs of pitch hire and stuff like that. If you're a club that can't afford or can't even find facilities for an extra training session a week, so you don't have the luxury of 2 sessions in a match, this is a way of getting more football without it being much of an extra cost. It's just a bit more time. So that'd be something to think about as well.
I think similarly on match day, then you do it always. If you've got an official game to be played from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock or whatever, but you and the other team and the players can all can go there from 9 till 10 or stay till 11 till 12 and have an extra hours match. Again, that's if everyone wants to do that, and that's only going to be a positive. It's going to help with development, and yeah, you're already there anyway. So yeah,
Yeah.
just try and maximize what you're already doing.
Yeah. So communication, more matches, but within like, thinking about why you're doing that.
Yeah,
And obviously, hopefully, people have took some ideas from that there.
yeah, because it's a big commitment. It's a big commitment taking on a grassroots team, and it's all right saying do more matches. Again, you have to if the desire is there to do that. But on the other side of that, I'm seeing this more and more. It seems that these grassroots teams are not having any time off in summer. They're going to gala after gala, and I'm speaking to a lot of coaches, and it's not the coach organising it a lot of the time. It's the club saying, "Oh, we've signed you up for this gala, we've signed you up for that gala." And again, if the coach wants to do it and the players want to play, that's absolutely fine. But I also think it's fine for those coaches to say, "No, you know what? I'm just a dad. I'm volunteering with my kids' team. I aren't doing it in the summer. I'll do it when it's the proper season."
Yeah, or at least have a few weeks off or whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, like I say, it comes back to your desire and the kids. What is it you lot want to do? And there's no harm in another parent taking them if that person wants a bit of a break or is on holiday or whatever. You had said we're talking about matches there, as in like more, the actual matches against other teams, but we wanted to talk about training sessions because that's another thing that we get a lot of is can you give us ideas for training sessions and whatever else. So let's talk about what we'd do if we were a brand new manager. We've not really had much experiences before. What would you do at training? Certainly for those probably first few weeks, couple of months.
yeah, yeah, definitely. So it's about understanding what training is. Really, training means practicing for the game on the Sunday. If you to be better in the game on a Sunday by practicing. So it comes back to anything at all. If you want to get better at playing guitar, then you play the guitar. If you want to get better at baking cakes, then you bake cakes. So if you want to get better at playing football matches, play football matches. And then the thing that I'd change at training is instead of playing just a 9v9 game, because maybe you don't have 18 players in your squad, just have smaller format games, but it's still two teams, two goals, one team attacking, one team defending, and they're learning all of the football actions within that. So just keep it really simple and don't think that you're doing them a disservice, because that is what training should be by definition, practicing the thing that you're going to end up doing.
Yeah, definitely. I had a good chat with a dad about this, but it's a dad that's also at an academy as an analyst, and he was saying, one of one of the best things that new managers could do, and even some experienced ones that haven't really gone on and done the expanded their knowledge and learning and so on, would just be to play matches at training.
Yeah,
But that can look that can be 1v1, 2v2, 3v3, 4v4, what have you. Yeah, more time in the format you're going to play on a Saturday or Sunday would be great as well, but you don't have the luxury of space and players sometimes. But certainly just putting them into those things and just leaving them, letting them play, and possibly sticking in some different constraints and different rules and whatever if you want to. But yeah, you'd probably, I think one of the most damaging things that can happen is when you go online and you download 50 Manchester City Academy under 11 training sessions, and you think, oh, if I just do that, this is what Man City Academy are doing it. This must be this Man City Academy working with the best of the best. That context is completely different in your team. Those kids might not need it. And one thing you and I have learned, because we've met a lot of coaches now across the world, is just because it's been done in these environments doesn't mean that it's a good drill, let alone good for your kids.
yeah, yeah,
So I think you can make your life so much easier. And then if you do get the odd parent that wants to say, well, they're just doing this, that, well, have you got any ideas?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, because you didn't put your hand up to do this. So yeah, yeah, keep it simple, keep it really, really simple. Anything else? We've got communication, we've got more matches,
Yeah, engagement. And I think the
training.
one I want to touch on, and you've made a few points to it there in terms of, like a training or on a match day and stuff like that, in terms of making it easy for yourself. I don't think, certainly with younger grassroots football teams, that there needs to be a manager, there needs to be a figurehead. I think if you've got a team of 12 players or whatever, that means you've got 12 parents there. And can't you all just muck in and do a bit? Whether it might be, I don't know, every week you're going to put the nets up, I'm going to sort the subs out, or maybe you swap those roles each week or whatever it is. But I don't think there needs to be this person who's going to give a big team talk before the match and at halftime. That's all a manager. I think what a lot of people think a manager's job is to do. And if we're saying, also we're not going to be instructing from the sidelines, we're going to be letting children play to make their own decisions. Again, it feeds into all of that. You can get apps and things like that, which are going to do your equal playing time stuff for you. So you can just sit back and just let the players play. And I know people will be saying, "Oh, team talks do it matter," and you'll hear ex-professional footballers talking about amazing team talks that their manager gave before big games and stuff like that. And that's all true, and it can help have an impact on the players. But it doesn't guarantee that you're going to win a game. You could listen to the best team talk in the world and go and lose that game of football. You could have no team talk and go win a game of football. It's some things that are done and just seem to be the norm. You just got to step back, I think, and look at those and think, are they actually important? Do we actually need to know that do those? Or if we don't do those, is it going to have a negative impact on the team and the players? And it's not. And having some kind of shared management team is going to make life so much easier for the parents. And I think it's going to make things a lot more enjoyable potentially for the players because there's not they're just it's shared and they're all kind of more involved with it.
Yeah, this came about from a chat we had last week, didn't it? About there were some parents that were concerned about the behaviour of a coach to the point of possibly issuing a safeguarding complaint because of the way he was behaving and stuff. And that, yeah, I just think it makes so much sense that if you've got an app that tells you about the equal playing time, if you agree that you'll maybe mix positions, you can put this in a template and have all the kids' names, and it can be done for you for the season.
Yeah, yeah,
At this game, she's going to play there. At that game, he's going to play there, and whatever. And yeah, there's going to be injuries and absences or whatever else. But it's not too complicated to then rejig slightly. But instead of having this guy, because I guess the other thing is people think, oh well, yeah, halftime team talks and before the game team. What makes you think this new person that's been thrown into it is Alex Ferguson? They've been thrown into it. They don't really know what's going on. So why not just why not just say go out, do your best,
yeah.
try really hard, enjoy it, go try to win the game, and we'll deal with everything on the side about moving you about when you need to move it about or when you're coming off. And
And even some player ownership, let players have an halftime team talk with each other. They might not
yeah,
talk about the game whatsoever, but it doesn't mean that they're not going to then have a good performance in the second half. Again, it's this idea that you need to critically analyze anything that's happened, and that's going to see an improvement in performance after you've had this talk is just nonsense. And yet, if you watch a group of kids and a coach talking to them, you can see them switch off quickly. They're not there to listen to an adult talk. They're there to play. They're there to play football.
yeah. I'll have that tonight at our sessions. I'll be spilling some absolute gold to them, and
Yeah, yeah,
they'll just be looking at birds or,
yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever in the sky. And yeah, and that's particularly with those younger ages. And you think about the format's changing now for is it under 7 and under 8? That they're going to go 3v3. So I mean, what impact are you going to have really? It's going to be lessened. But yeah, when it starts getting a bit more serious, it's 11 aside later on. Then yeah, you might have that maybe in college team, school to whatever. But in those younger ages, when it is smaller format, it's parents that have been thrown into it. I think it's
yeah,
just taking a step back and thinking, look, let's take this for what it is. We want these kids to continue play. We want these kids to be here next season playing again, and the season after, and the season after. So how do we do that? And it doesn't need to be that we're giving these Brian Clough style team talks at half
yeah.
time because they're probably not that bothered.
That's it. If you end up in a situation like that where you haven't got those often negative talks at children on match day, and you've also agreed as a group that at training you're just going to mark out some pitches, and then when they get there, you're going to throw a ball in and off they go and play. You're going to make it a lot easier, but that's potentially going to be really, really positive for development. Really positive.
Yeah, and attractive to certain parents.
Yeah, yeah,
I think you think about some of the parents that come to us, it's because they've been in these sorts of environments where it's taken too seriously too soon and all the fun is sucked out of it. So they want to come to us just because they get to play football. They get to enjoy their football. The difference is we're not a team, so we don't have the match element. But that needs to be at the heart of it all. Are these kids enjoying this? And yeah, and I think again going back to if it was me as a dad that's been thrown into it, I just want to make my life as
yeah.
easy as possible. and that's it. Because you volunteered, and the amount of time and effort it takes is insane. When you talk to some of these people
Yeah.
that are asking us for advice, it is so hard, and then they're getting it in the neck from here, there, and everywhere, and they just try to do the right thing. But yeah, sharing the load, I think, would be a good one. Okay, so four bits there. Hopefully that's helpful. But wait, one thing we're gonna do, I think maybe the next one, I think one after is, I've got some questions from like YouTube comments and one thing or another that we're going to start answering and just maybe talk about things that people are really concerned about right now, just to try and give some advice. So we'll probably do that in the next couple of podcasts. But we wanted to just finish with introducing everybody to something that we've put together in the last few weeks. It's been something we've been wanting to do for probably a year or two, but a mix of time and one thing or another, it's just not happened. But we get so many requests for, have you got any session ideas? I run an under eights team. I want them to work on this, this, and this. Can you send us some stuff? So, long story short, we have built a website, onlinefootballcourses.com, and this is going to be specifically for grassroots coaches. So people like what we're talking about today that have been thrown into it, that just need some ideas. And yeah, we've just said there, one of the best things you could do as a new person would be just to let them play a match in 1v1s, 2v2s, 3v3s. But there is going to come a time when you want to do other bits. But what we've put together is something that, instead of it being Man City's under 12s session, these are things that we use as grassroots football coaches with mixed ability children of all ages, that can just essentially be put into your sessions, and they're going to have a good impact. It's all games based, but it's also, what we've tried to do is put enough information in there where it's not overloading people, but it's you'll read it and you'll know a little bit more than when you started about the topic of discussion, and it'll give you coaching points and things to look out for within the session, so you can start to become more of a coach and help your players with certain things individually and as a team. As I say, it's all games based. We've got adaptations with each game as well. So you can have, there might be an ebook that we put out that's got 10 exercises, but within that, you've got two or three adaptations. So it might become that you've got 20 or 30 new activities to go out for the full season. You've got what we've tried to do, because one thing that I think frustrates a lot of people is they'll download some activities and then they'll quickly realize that they've got no bearing on their team whatsoever. And it's like, you do this and that's it. But what we've tried to do is say, right, we've got this game here that works. However, if you have players that are complete beginners, you can scale it down by doing X, Y, and Z. If you've got players that are absolutely nailing this, you can scale it up and do X, Y, and Z to make it a little bit difficult and change it and what have you. So it should mean that you've just got, no matter what, you can use the activity in a slightly different way based on your players. So we're pretty excited by it. And we're going to release it. There's going to be a link in the show notes on this one with the first ebook, which we've put together, which is a scanning ebook. It's taken us a good few weeks to get this together. Now, now, one thing that we want to talk about is, this is going to be the simple guide to coaching scanning. It's going to be the first volume of it, but the games within it, and not just about coaching scanning. It's the scanning thing is something we get asked about a lot because it's a buzzword within coaching. So we've put this together because we know people are interested in it at the minute. But what hopefully you'll glean from it is that these games aren't just developing scanning, that they're games that are helping them get better at football. It's a games based activity, and they're helping them get better at football. Scanning is part of that. But again, we've opened up with some information about what scanning is, what we used to think it was, the issues that we had with it, and what we learned. So then hopefully you leave with a bit more knowledge than when you started. Anything to add, Nick, on that?
No, mate, no. Yeah, excited to get it out and see the reaction to it.
Yeah. And the other thing we'd say as well is for anybody that does download it, please do give us feedback, because we can make these and adjust these for what people want, essentially. But what we're trying to stay away from is, here are 1,000 passing drills. Here are things that the Portuguese national team are using. It's not that. This is for grassroots coaches, grassroots managers that just want a simple plug and play system. Even if you don't bother with all the information that we put at the start, you've got activities that you can literally just give your kids. And if you step back and don't say a word, they're going to develop the kids. They're going to help the kids get better at football because of the way we've done it. And the other thing as well is I often look at some of these things online and I'm like, have you actually done that session? Have you done that activity? Because what you've put down on that piece of paper and what is reality are two very different things. And particularly at grassroots, when you've got kids that some of them might not be as bothered to be there as others. You might have one kid that's absolutely amazing and three kids that are at the very, very start of their journey. So there's never any context to it. And that's where I think we've made something that it'll help. It'll help these environments that coaches are in. So we'll get that out. That'll be linked in the show notes on this one, and then we've got more to come. I'll hopefully get another one out before Christmas, which will be more of ball each stuff, 1v1 stuff, which I think will be pretty cool that we've been testing out for the last few months. So yeah, any questions on what we spoke about today? As always, get them in the comments. And thank you as always for listening, and thank you for your time as well, Nick.
Yeah, pleasure.